Proud of the men and women that serve CMPD, some of the work that they've done, the resiliency that they have. You'll see on the video, I hope that it's equally shared to see how the restraint that they withheld for many of those nights. And as you're looking at June 2nd, also understand that this was day five of some very serious protests and riotous activity that CMPD was trying to keep our community safe. So with that, I'll finish with my comments and take any questions.
To be clear then, we're going to see videos from just the June 2nd?
Just the June 2nd was the petition, and that's what will be released, yes.
Can you speak to how much of the videos have been redacted compared to what was submitted to SBI?
Everything that we are releasing is every bit of it, all that we have, and SBI had also access and reviewed all of those videos as well.
Will you have availability to talk with the media after these videos are released?
There'll be some availability, yes. I don't know if I'll do a press conference again, but yeah, we can certainly accommodate if we want to have some one-on-one conversations.
Chief, with these new protocols that you have in place, what is the ramification for officers who don't turn on their body cam or, are not following these new protocols?
That's a good question because, again, we're human. We're going to make mistakes. So we look at it as if any other event. It's a policy violation for not turning your body-worn camera on already when you are answering calls for service and dealing with the public. So we would take that approach similarly. Now, the other good thing about it is when you talk about our civil emergency unit, you're talking about hundreds of officers. So you think 50 videos to review now is a lot. If every officer has their camera on and recording video, then that number is going to be astronomical. But however, what it will capture is every angle, every part of that incident that we're wanting to capture.
How was that sergeant disciplined, to be a little more transparent about that policy and what those procedures are?
Yeah, so what we looked at was conduct unbecoming, and part of what we look at is does it hold our department in disrepute, and what is the degree of harm? And we felt like comments of this nature that will appear insensitive to the public, that even though they were private conversations as they were captured on video, the degree of harm, I think, is great because the public has a certain expectation of us, and we have high expectations of ourselves, and not just of ourselves, but of our supervisors. So with that, the discipline was significant. That Sergeant has regretted what he has said. It wasn't meant for public consumption, obviously. However, he also has acknowledged that there is consequences that come with those behaviors. So I think CMPD acted appropriately in what we passed down on disciplinary action, and we'll just want to move forward from this point and continue to get better.
Can you elaborate further on what those consequences are?
Yes. The sergeant received 2 weeks of suspension. Also has been relieved of his specialized assignment. Also has been relieved of his privileges to train, and also will not be eligible to participate in promotions for a period of at least 2 years.
We haven't seen the video yet, but is there something that the community, those people who were trapped, in that building, is there something that they could have done differently? What is your message to those people who were there that night?
Yeah, so my message will always be, if you hear the police give a dispersal order, if it's not your intent to disobey those orders, or not your intent to be a part of that process of the protests or demonstrations, if your intent truly is to have a peaceful demonstration, if you hear dispersal orders, you should realize that the next step will be for us to disperse the crowd, and that will often be through riot control agents, which will give you irritation to your eyes and your breathing, and it's very uncomfortable. So my advice would be that you associate with the peaceful protest. As you know and you saw during this time, we had protests of upwards of 8,000 to 10,000 people. Not one riot control agent deployed, not one civil emergency unit officer deployed. We had bike officers to facilitate the crowd. It was very peaceful, and not one single incident occurred. That's the groups, or those are the groups in the protests and demonstrations that I would want to be involved in, not the ones that are destroying property and setting things on fire and damaging the roadway and throwing items and stuff in the roadway. So that's my message. If you truly intend on being peaceful, then align yourself with those peaceful demonstrations, and we will accommodate that to the best of our ability.
I have a question about some of the more recent protests in the last couple of days.
Yes.
There have been some complaints that the use of pepper spray was overzealous. Is any of those incidents under review?
Yes, all of them are under review. When we use pepper spray, that is a use of force. Internal Affairs has looked into that, and also Chain of Command will be looking at the dispersal of pepper spray. What I can tell you, that pepper spray is used anytime there's active aggression. And we are very clear. I've looked at the videos of that where the people that were sprayed were involved in active aggression, and they were trying to, whether assaulting officers or taking officers' bicycles, the public order bikes. Now, the unfortunate part of that is pepper spray is not, it will have residual effects on people surrounding them. So there were people that unfortunately, that may not have been involved in the actual assault or active aggression that might have gotten some residual effects of the pepper spray.
Isn't it true that the clips, the body cam footage that we're going to see this afternoon was only released after the plaintiffs for the NAACP lawsuit against the department petitioned the courts on Friday to see the video after they were hid in the chambers?
No, absolutely not. We had a petition, earlier petition, to release. We petitioned the courts very early to release those videos, probably within 48 hours. I'm not exactly sure, but we had the petition first. Now there was if you recall, there was a temporary restraining order that was heard by a judge in reference to the riot control agents and the use of those. Now, after that was over with, which it was denied, the petition then came to release the videos that was watched during that hearing. So the judge decided that he would hear the entire petition that we had previously put out for all of the videos, not just that one section. So I think that was appropriate. Instead of piecing out different sections of the video, I think the appropriate thing is to release it all at one time. So I commend the judge for that decision.
Yeah, one last question, perhaps, having changed some of these policies that you outlined, does that suggest that the policies weren't sufficient before, and that we didn't handle it well back on June 2nd?
No, it doesn't. I know what you're asking, but to be perfectly out front with this, the actions that we took, although the tactics were not put forth appropriately the way that they should have been put forth, that tactic is actually an acceptable tactic based on the training that people see across the country with civil emergency units and mobile field force. However, we also see the other side of that although the tactic was acceptable, when you look at the aesthetics of it and how the people within the protests felt they were boxed in because the smoke and the cloud that they could not see on the other side of that, we realized very quickly that is something that we do not want to repeat. And how do we not repeat that is that we change our policy, we change our training, and we did that practically that same, within a couple of days we began having those conversations, and they continue to this day on how we can continue to improve not just this, but any policies that might relate to protesting and things that we're seeing here lately.
Two questions. Any other officers disciplined besides that one sergeant you already mentioned?
That's the only person that's been disciplined. There has been some training updates that we've done and things like that to again improve on how we respond to these types of incidents. But as far as disciplinary action, that's the only one.
And then we know that the body cam footage was old. Body cameras were only being worn by the bicycle cops in the June 2nd incident, not the ones in the Fuller riot year. For the body cam video that's going to be released this afternoon, so it's just those bike cops. Were they close enough to get close-up shots of what was going on?
You're going to get a good depiction of what was going on. Not only are you going to see body-worn camera footage, you're going to see video footage. You're also going to see surveillance footage from our surveillance cameras uptown. So anything that's on our server that's related to June 2nd will be released to the public, and that's in excess of 50, so hundreds of hours. And I think it's going to take some time to go through it, but you will be receiving everything.
Anybody else?
Thank you, Chief.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you.
I know a number of you have questions concerning the timing of this. The judge issued that order and back on the 21st, and it will be released. We're authorized to release those videos in upwards of 50, I think 51 to be exact, after 12 p.m. today. So we're working with our technology folks. We've got some side issues, technology issues that we're working through right now, and apologies in advance. I know some of you didn't get the emails about today's advisory for the press briefing. Thank you for following us on Twitter. I think City IT is still trying to work through those kinks. Don't have a definitive timeline on when those videos will be released. It won't be before noon, though, I can tell you that. Probably closer to the middle of the afternoon if all the planets align. All right? Appreciate everyone's patience as we work through some of these technical issues, too.
Did you see a crime happen? Or do you have information that may help solve a criminal case, but you are too afraid to come forward with information? Charlotte Crime Stoppers provides a way for you to provide tips to the police anonymously. You can call the toll-free phone line, go online to our website, or use the P3 mobile application to report a tip. You don't have to leave any personal information. When you provide a tip, you will be given a unique identification number. For all future correspondence, you will only be identified by that number. It is 100% anonymous, and you can be eligible for a cash reward of up to $5,000. Visit our website and social media channels to find out more information. Download the free P3 Tips app.
We need your help. Coronavirus is still here,
and we have to stop it.
From devastating our families and our economy.
Please wear a mask.
Please wear a mask.
Please wear a mask.
Wait 6 feet apart.
And wash your hands often.
With these simple actions, you could help save my patients.
Our business.
My job.
And my mom.
We're all counting on you.
Welcome to this week's edition of NCDOT Now. I'm Lauren Haviland. This week, people traveling between Raleigh and Charlotte have an additional option with the return to service of Piedmont trains 73 and 76. The North Carolina Department of Transportation had suspended operations of the state-operated passenger rail service due to the impacts of COVID-19. To ensure passenger and crew safety, Amtrak has enhanced cleaning procedures and is requiring all customers in stations, on trains, and throughway buses to wear facial coverings. The number of riders per train is also limited to make sure passengers can social distance. For the full schedule of the services, go to ncbytrain.org. Last week, the department honored North Carolina communities that developed the state's best multimodal projects. The NCDOT MOBI Awards, which started last year, honor transportation projects that improve the economy and enhance the quality of life in North Carolina communities. Projects had to combine the use of at least 2 transportation modes, such as aviation, bicycle, pedestrian, ferry, public transportation, rail, and roadway. More than 60 projects competed in this year's NCDOT MOBI Awards. To see the full list of this year's winners and honorable mentions, go to ncdot.gov and search MOBI Awards. Finally, a section of Interstate 40 in Duplin County has been dedicated to a former North Carolina state senator. 2 highway signs now proclaim a couple miles of the interstate as Senator Charles W. Albertson Highway. The former senator served 22 years in the state's General Assembly, making him the longest-serving legislator from Duplin County. That's all for this week's edition of NCDOT Now. From all of us here at the North Carolina Department of Transportation, safe travels.
They said a bottle was just a bottle. That no one would ever notice me. But I knew I could be more. That one day, I would make people smile.
Hi everyone, my name is Greg Clemmer. I'm the Division Director of Park Operations for Mecklenburg County. We're here today at beautiful Ramblewood Park. Today we're doing a project where we're redeploying staff. What does that mean? That means that we're taking some of our LPT staff that are in our rec centers and nature centers, some of our admin staff, and bringing them out in the field during this pandemic. So today we're going to show you some examples of what we're doing to keep everybody working and also to beautify our parks.
Okay, so as we clear out the woods, in conjunction with communication with our horticulture department and natural resources, we like to promote our native species versus the non-native invasive species that have been taken over these woods. So primarily we're removing those, and again, it will look so much better when you don't have all that underbrush, when you can see all the way through those woods and you can see, get the scope of the park a little bit better. Well, specifically what we're going to do today, we actually started yesterday. I don't know if you can see, but over in that corner, you see how you can see all the way through the trees? Well, we're continuing that project. We've cut down a bunch of, like I said, the small non-native trees. I know, stuff maybe this big around, and we're going to be running all the brush through the chipper just to get rid of it, which we're setting up over there as well. And we're going to just continue to clear out the woods. We've got our limited part-time employees that have come out to help us today, and we're grateful for them, because even with just 4 or 5 people out here to help us, it's going to do the work that it would take us weeks to do on our own. Well, I suppose the primary purpose is really to help get our limited part-time employees back to work. Most of them work in the recreation centers, and they have been closed since we've been in the COVID-19 pandemic, and they need to get hours. They need to feed their families. They need to do what they need to do in order to survive and hopefully get back to some semblance of normal. I guess what I want people to primarily know is the parks are open. We haven't really closed this entire time. We closed our parking lots for a little while, but those are back open now, and we're allowed to go outside. We're allowed to enjoy nature. And because we're kind of slowed down on some of our other activities, we have been improving the parks tremendously in terms of their overall aesthetics and accessibility. So please, I would invite the public to come back out and just enjoy nature. I mean, you're the reason that we're out here doing the job that we do.
Berry with the Recruiting and Training Division here at the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Academy. Thank you for joining us today for the 185th Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Recruit Class graduation. I would now like to welcome the Deputy Chief of the Administrative Services Bureau, Estella Patterson.
Thank you, Captain Berry. Good morning. My name is Stella Patterson, and I am the Deputy Chief of the Administrative Services Group here at CMPD. It is my distinct pleasure to welcome you to the virtual graduation ceremony of the 185th recruit class. To all the mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, husbands, wives, children, and extended family, and friends of our graduates, we welcome you and thank you for joining for this tremendous event. We also thank you for entrusting your loved ones in our care for these past 6 months. To our many supporters and community partners who are also streaming from afar, we welcome you and thank you for your unwavering support and confidence in CMPD to serve and protect, even in the midst of the most difficult times of our lives and our profession. Today, we honor the journey of 31 men and women as they transition from police recruit to police officer, from student to graduate, from resident to guardian. To our graduating class, your commitment to a career of service speaks loudly to who you are and what is in your heart. A few weeks ago, I talked to you about the calling. Thank you for answering that call. I applaud you and I salute you. At this time, please rise with me for the presentation of colors by our own distinguished CMPD Honor Guard, and please remain standing for the singing of our national anthem by Brittany Curry and the invocation by Chaplain Jerome Bell.
Let us pray. Our Father, we're grateful for this day and for these recruits whose heart has set them into this service. Father, we ask that you cover them and keep them, God, on this journey. Bless their families, O God, who stand by their side. Father, we pray that this day will live in their hearts and they'll remember this moment that has been set aside in time as their first step on this journey to serve not only a great city, but also you. God, we thank you for your covering, your grace, and your kindness. In your precious name we pray. Amen.
You may be seated. At this time, I'd like to present to you our Chief of Police, my Chief, Chief Johnny Jennings.
Thank you, Chief Patterson. So instead of an auditorium full of people, we're coming to you virtually. I do want to thank everyone who's joined us in this virtual presentation and ceremony today. Thank you to the officers, past and present, who have helped build this foundation to have Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department become one of the finest departments in the country. Before I congratulate the newest CMPD officers, I want to congratulate their families, many of which are watching virtually right now. I welcome each of you to your newly extended CMPD family. I truly believe that once your officers are sworn in, and since the day they've been hired, they have become part of the family, which means you're part of the family also. Just as your family member has sacrificed to join a challenging profession, you too sacrificed to support the decision in their career. Your support of them is very important in a difficult and challenging situation that we're seeing unprecedented times right now. So recruit class 185, congratulations, you made it. I commend and admire each and every one of you for hanging in there when it would be so easy to see the challenges that we face out in the community and the rhetoric that goes along with our profession. It would be so easy to walk away and to say this isn't for me. That tells me even more that you're the right people for this job, the right ones to make this a career, and the right ones to make our agency even better. You should be excited as we look to the forefront of change within our profession. It's an exciting time to see that you get to see it through as you begin your careers. You're going to help us grow and continue to get better. There are three things I want to leave you with. Always treat others with respect. I say all the time, the gun and a badge does not give any type of authority to disrespect people. So always treat people in a customer service type way, because our citizens are our customers. Our community is our customers, and you're there to serve them. Look out for one another. This includes holding each other accountable. When you see someone stepping out of line, you may need to be the one to pull them back in, save their career and save yours. It's going to be important that we look out for each other so that we can better serve our community also. And don't forget about life outside of work. It's easy to be caught up in the task at hand and the profession and the things that you might see and do while you're here. But remember to have fun outside of work, have a network outside of work, to be able to decompress and get your mind off of things that you might see and encounter here within our agency. So with that, I want to leave you with another heartfelt congratulations, and may God bless you and see you through. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Jennings. Please welcome the 185th Recruit Class President, David Curtis.
Good morning. My name is David Curtis, and as she said, I'm the president of Class 185, and I'm proud to present our class video. Again, good morning. I would first like to thank Chief Jennings, Deputy Chief Voorhees, and Deputy Chief Patterson for being here. Thank you to our Academy staff for all their hard work and dedication on this journey, for driving us to be better, and to teaching us to always give our all. Thank you to our families and to our friends who have supported us through late nights and early mornings, long hours of studying, and putting up with our incessant use of acronyms and 10 codes that they don't understand. February 24th, 2020, 40 strangers joined together in common purpose upstairs in this building, nervous about what was to come. How strict would the instructors be? Would it be hard? Could we rise to the occasion? Since then, we have endured pepper spray, tasers, tear gas, and Officer Embry's workouts. We have struggled, we have learned, and we have grown. We learned effective communication from Officer Purdy. Officer Anderson taught us to drive with due regard to reach the people who would one day call us for help. Officer Embry helped reinforce the importance of fitness and a proper diet to carry us forward in our career. Through determination, we've persevered. And it was that same determination that carried us through on July 17th, the dreaded state exam. The test that determines whether you're to become a police officer or if it's time to pack it up. In the weeks prior to the test, Sergeant Edmonds delivered a challenge to our class. In the history of the Academy, no class had had a perfect 100% pass rate their first time taking the test. On July 22nd, we found out that Class 185 had done just that. Today, 31 of us stand together as brothers and sisters, prepared to join an even larger family. But as we reflect on the struggles we have endured that have brought us to this moment, we must turn our thoughts to the struggles we will endure and the weight we will carry from this day forward. The average police officer carries approximately 20 to 25 pounds of gear every day in snowy winter and blazing summer heat. Over a 30-year career, that adds up to a total of over 156,000 pounds carried. But that weight pales in comparison to the weight of the badge that we wear. It carries with it the weight of our duty to you, the public, and to each other. So thank you to Lieutenant Helton, Sergeant Edmonds, Officers Anderson, Purdy, and Embry, and all of our fantastic staff here for teaching us to carry that weight. You are all truly a cut above. Finally, to the citizens of Charlotte and Mecklenburg County, thank you for giving us the opportunity to carry that weight and to serve you. Thank you for placing your faith and trust in us. Class 185 is ready for duty.
Good morning. My name is Shane Edmonds, and it has been my pleasure to serve as the Recruit Training Sergeant for the 185th Recruit Class. I want to thank the families for all the support you've given your loved ones over the past 6 months. I also want you to know that their training isn't over. After today, they will report to their divisions for their next phase of training. During this time, they will respond to 911 calls with a police training officer to watch and guide their every step. They will have a division of brothers and sisters helping to teach them how to reach their goal of becoming an officer worthy of wearing the badge. But that starts next week. Today, we want to celebrate each one of our recruits and all that they have accomplished. During their time here at the Academy, there were 4 main areas of focus: academics, physical fitness, driving, and firearms. This morning, we would like to recognize the recruits that have excelled in these specific areas of training. Before we begin, I'd like to invite Chief Jennings on stage for the presentation of awards. The Academic Award. This award goes to the recruit with the highest average through all 35 exams. The 185th Academic Award winner with an overall average of 95.46 is recruit Henry Burr. The Physical Fitness Award. After many weeks of strenuous physical fitness training, the recruits must perform the police officer's physical abilities test and the Cooper Fitness Test. These tests involve weightlifting, vertical jumps, push-ups, sit-ups, and an obstacle course to give an overall fitness level. The 185th Recruit Class Physical Fitness Award goes to recruit Ian Buff. The Firearms Award. The recruits received approximately 80 hours of firearms training. At the completion of this training, the recruits must pass a daytime and nighttime firearms qualification course with a score of 70% or higher. The 185th Recruit Class Firearms Award winners, because we have 2, with an average score of 99.2 is recruit David Curtis, and recruit Lucas Spears. The Driving Award. The recruits received approximately 60 hours of driver's training. At the completion of this training, the recruits must successfully navigate 7 driving courses. The 185th Recruit Class Driving Award winner with an average of 98 is recruit Henry Burr. The Chiefs Award for Excellence. In each recruit class, we recognize the one recruit that excelled in all 4 of the instructional areas: academics, physical fitness, driving, and firearms. The 185th Recruit Class Chiefs Award for Excellence goes to recruit Henry Burr. I'd like to take a minute and thank our recruiting and firearms divisions, our academy training staff, and all of the officers of CMPD for your hard work and support with the 185th Recruit Class. To recruit training officers Wayne Embry, Katie Anderson, and Tim Purdy, I'd like to thank you for another outstanding job. To the 185th Recruit Class, as you go throughout your career, I challenge you to remember your reason for becoming an officer and strive to live up to those goals each and every day. At this time, we will now present the basic law enforcement certificates to the 185th Recruit Class. As I call your name, please come forward. I'd like to invite Deputy Chief Patterson and Deputy Chief Voorhees on stage for the presentation of certificates. Tucker Armstrong. Jatasha Bias. Raquel Prisco. Ian Buff. Henry Burr, Jr. You may now pin your badges. Congratulations, officers. Chol Chi. James Connor. David Curtis. Derek Entwistle. Matthew Flanagan. You may now pin your badges. Congratulations, officers. Lee Gilfillan. Brandon Graham. Yael Grazier Zerbarini. Sean Husk. Nicholas Jones. You may now pin your badges. Congratulations, officers. Kenneth Clutie. Ryan Lewis. Corey Malden. Gabriel Nazco. Jonathan Nugent. You may now pin your badges. Congratulations, officers. Hung Fan. Matthew Pills. Lucas Robinson. David Ross. Michael Raballo. You may now pin your badges. Congratulations, officers. Andrew Rudd. Ryan Sellers. Caleb Sherman. You may now pin your badges. Congratulations, officers. Tawan Skeen. Lucas Spears. Ryan Wood. You may now pin your badges. Congratulations, officers.
Recruit Class 185, the badge you have earned and that you now have pinned to your chest carries a tremendous amount of historical significance and stands for the highest qualities that we and our great city expect from our officers every single day. We hope you enjoyed this video presentation, which highlights just some of what the Hornet's Nest badge represents.
By itself, it's just a piece of metal. But for you, the one who will wear it over your heart, it means everything. It means duty to uphold the law, integrity to keep you grounded, courage to face your fear. Its past defines you. Lord Cornwallis may have called Charlotte a hornet's nest of rebellion. But now there is law and order. Wear this hornet's nest proudly on your chest. Never do anything to tarnish it or bring it disgrace. It's your daily reminder you are here to serve and protect. Honor those those who came before you. This badge means you belong to a family that understands the days that nearly break you and the days that make you. There's no other badge like this one. Wear it with pride. And to those who see you with it, let them know it's the heartbeat that keeps this city pounding.
Recruit Class 185, congratulations to each of you and welcome to the CMPD family. Ladies and gentlemen, I proudly present to you the officers of the 185th Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Recruit Class. Thank you.
I wanted to become a police officer because I've always wanted to help people. Always knew I was very blessed in my life, and I just want to be out there to help other people and get them through their tough times.
I decided to join the police department to let people like me know that it is okay to stand apart, to do something different. In today's country right now, there's a lot of stereotypes about what a police officer is and isn't, and I just wanted to let people know that it is okay to do something that you feel like you should do. I'm no different from anybody else. I have family, I have friends. I just chose a different job.
Policing gives me that discipline and structure that I need, and it also allows me to help people at the same time. And I think with that, I can also help be a role model with other Asian Americans who are struggling with their identity, what they want to be.
You know, in New York, I struggled for years just to get by. Working 2 jobs, my husband worked 2 jobs. We moved out here, my husband went to 1 job, and he said, you could do whatever you want to do. You don't have to worry about financially supporting us anymore. And for me, it was no question. I was like, okay, I want to be an officer.
I, David Curtis, do solemnly swear. I, Ryan Wood, do solemnly swear. I, Michael Rebel, do solemnly swear. I, Ryan Lewis, do solemnly swear. I, Brennan Graham, do solemnly swear. I, Ian Buff, do solemnly swear. I, Hung Fan, do solemnly swear. I, Gabriel Baswell, do solemnly swear. I, Tucker Armstrong, do solemnly swear. I, Lucas Robinson, do solemnly swear. I, Kenneth Moody, do solemnly swear.
I, Jatasha Bias, do solemnly swear.
I, Caleb Sherman, do solemnly swear. I, Andrew Rudd, do solemnly swear. I, Sean Russ, do solemnly swear. I, Matthew Pells, do solemnly swear. I, Jonathan Nugent, do solemnly swear. I, Lucas Spears, do solemnly swear. I, Dewan Steen, do solemnly swear. I, Nicholas Jones, do solemnly swear. I, Tobin Chi, do solemnly swear. I, Derek Twistle, do solemnly swear. I, Henry Bird Jr., do solemnly affirm. I, James Conner, do solemnly swear. I, Matthew Flanagan, do solemnly swear.
I, Gavel Frazier Zagrini, do affirm.
I, Marilyn Gilford, do solemnly swear.
I, Ryan Sellers, do solemnly swear. I, Corey Monin, do solemnly swear.
I, Mikhail Bruno Prisco, do solemnly swear.
I, David Rose, do solemnly swear that I will support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina, not inconsistent herewith, that I will be alert and vigilant to enforce the criminal laws of the state, that I will not be influenced in any manner on account of personal bias or prejudice, that I will faithfully and impartially execute the duties of my office
as a law enforcement officer
according to the
best of my skill,
abilities,
and judgment.
so help me God. So help me God.
So help me God.
So help me God.
So help me God.
So help me God.
So help me God.
So help me God.
So help me God. So help me God.
So help me God.
So help me God. So help me God. me God. So help me God. So help me God.
So help me God.
So help me God. So help me God. So help me God. So help me God. So help me God. So help me God. So help me God. So help me God. So help me God. So help me God. So help me God. So help me God.
Hi, my name is Vince. I work for the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta, Georgia, better known as CDC. CDC helps to stop the spread of diseases and to keep people from getting sick. We're kind of like detectives, but instead of stopping bad guys, we help to stop germs and diseases. Our job is to use clues to figure out how people get sick. Then we use that information to try to prevent people from getting sick. And hand washing is one of the ways you can do that.
And I'm Sarah. I also work at the CDC with Vince.
We're here today to talk to you about Global Hand Washing Day. Global Hand Washing Day is a day to celebrate the importance of clean hands around the world. Global Hand Washing Day has been celebrated since 2008 in more than 100 countries. It's a good reminder of how hand washing helps us stay healthy and why washing our hands with soap and water is one of the best ways we can avoid getting sick.
Countries all over the globe celebrate Global Hand Washing Day in a variety of ways. Hand washing really is important because everyone can get sick from germs.
Has anyone heard of germs? What are they?
Germs are too tiny for you to see, but they can be found everywhere, on your hands, your desk, your pets, and your toys. There are a lot of different types of germs, like bacteria and viruses. Some types of germs help you, like the ones in our intestines that help break down food. But other types of germs can make you sick, like when you get the flu, a cold, or a stomach ache.
How do germs spread? Do they move around like you and me?
Good question, Vince. People can have germs on many different parts of their bodies. The germs can spread quickly when we move around and touch objects or people, sneeze, or cough. If we're not careful, they can make us sick. We wash our hands with soap and water to help get rid of germs. When we wash our hands, why do we use soap and not just water?
Washing your hands with soap and water can help get rid of germs that can make us sick. Soap is important because it helps take dirt and germs off your skin. Water alone can't do that job very well. We also tend to scrub our hands more when we use soap, so that helps get rid of even more germs.
Is there a right way to wash our hands?
Yes. Let's watch this video that shows the hand washing steps.
That'd be great.
First, wet your hands using running water, warm or cold, whatever temperature feels best to you. Then put soap on your hands. Scrub your hands together for 20 seconds, which is long enough to sing the happy birthday song twice. Make sure to get in between your fingers, the backs of your hands, your wrists, and under your fingernails where the germs tend to hide most. Rinse your hands off. Then dry your hands with a paper towel, hand dryer, or air dry them. At home, it's okay to use a clean cloth or towel.
So now that we know how to wash our hands, what about when we should wash our hands?
Great question. You should always wash your hands after you go to the bathroom.
Or if you help change your little brother's diaper, right?
Right. Also, before you touch or eat your food, and before you make food for anyone else, which includes helping your parents set the table in the kitchen, after you play with your pets or any other animal, or touch their food or cages, after you cough, sneeze, or blow your nose, and after you play outside. These are times when it's easy to get germs on your hands or give germs to other people.
But what if there's no soap? What about hand sanitizer?
Washing your hands with soap and water is best because hand sanitizers don't kill some types of germs. Also, they don't work well if your hands are really dirty, like they can be after you've been playing outside. But if there's no soap, you can use hand sanitizer. Using hand sanitizer doesn't replace washing your hands with soap and water, but it may help you stay healthy if soap and water aren't available.
Okay, so how do we use it?
You should use enough to wet both hands completely, about a dime to a quarter size of hand sanitizer. Then rub it all over your hands until your hands feel dry, which usually takes about 20 seconds.
Great information.
Let's talk a little bit more about colds. Sarah, have you ever had a cold?
Oh yes, and it was no fun. My head hurt, my nose was runny and stuffy, and I just felt awful.
Yep, that sounds like a cold. You can catch a cold from a sick person coughing or sneezing near you, or from touching things that have cough germs on them, and then touching your mouth or face.
How can we stay healthy and avoid catching a cold?
Make sure you don't give cold germs to other people. You can do this by washing your hands often with soap and water. Also, remember to sneeze or cough into your elbow or tissues, like you see in these pictures.
Good to know.
Now, what about the flu? Does hand washing get rid of flu germs too?
Good question. Who's heard about the flu? The flu, also called influenza, is caused by a virus. Viruses are a type of germ, like we mentioned before. In general, the flu is worse than the common cold. When you have the flu, you feel bad. You can have a fever, a cough, sore throat. Your whole body feels bad and your head hurts.
That sounds awful. How do we catch the flu?
Flu germs can spread from person to person through the air when people with the flu cough, sneeze, or talk. Flu germs can also spread when you touch something with flu virus on it, like a table or doorknob, and then touch your mouth, eyes, or nose.
So back to my earlier question. What if we don't want to get sick? How can we protect ourselves against the flu?
There are two big things you can do to prevent getting the flu and protect others. First, get the flu shot. The flu shot is the best way to prevent catching the flu. Second, try these steps to avoid germs. Wash your hands often and carefully with soap and water. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth because germs easily spread this way. Like we mentioned with colds, cover your nose and mouth with your elbow or a tissue when you cough or sneeze. Throw the tissue in the trash after you use it and then wash your hands. If you get sick with the flu, stay home from school and try to stay away from friends until you're better. Do you still wonder whether hand washing gets rid of germs? We'll show you how it works through a hand washing contest.
Sounds great. This blue paint represents germs that we can't see. The three of us Myself, Sarah, and our friend Jackie will put the germs on our hands. I'll wash my hands with water and soap. Sarah will wash hands using only water, and Jackie will try to get the germs off without soap or water. We'll start at the same time, and whoever has the cleanest hands after 20 seconds wins. Ready? Set. Go. Time's up. Can everyone show their hands? Okay. I think we have a winner. I washed with soap and water, and I got all the germs off. Sarah, you washed with water only. Looks like you got a lot of the germs off, but there are still some hanging out. Jackie, wow, you're still a mess. We need to get you some soap and water to get those germs off. Obviously, you can see that washing with soap and water gets more germs off faster. So let's review. Why should we wash our hands?
Because of germs. Germs are tiny bacteria or viruses that live everywhere and spread from person to person by touching, sneezing, and coughing. Germs can make you sick, so to get rid of germs and stay healthy, you should wash your hands with soap and water. When should we wash our hands?
After you use the bathroom, before you eat food, after you touch animals or their food, and after you cough, sneeze, or blow your nose.
How should we wash our hands?
With soap and water for 20 seconds, drying your hands afterwards with paper towels, a hand dryer, or air drying them.
How can we prevent the flu?
Get a flu shot and cough or sneeze into a tissue or into your elbow and wash hands often. Okay, looks like we've come to the end of our presentation today. Thank you so much for joining us. If you want to learn more, visit one of these websites.
They said a bottle was just a bottle. That no one would ever notice me. But I knew I could be more. That one day, I would make people smile.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Good morning. My name is John Anarella, and I'm the mayor of Huntersville. And I'm here today with Angie Kohler and Jeff Titus of Colonial Pipeline, Tony Bateman of the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Emergency Management, and Dan Bowser of the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality. And the reason why we're doing this videotape today is, as many of you know, about a week ago, the Colonial Pipeline that runs through Huntersville began to leak. And since then, there's been a lot of questions from the community, and we're trying to answer those questions as best we can in today's COVID environment. We felt like this would be the best way to get the information out to the most amount of people. So we're going to be, I'll be asking the questions, and we'll get the answers that hopefully many of you are looking for. This will be posted on our website, on Colonial's website, and we'll put it out on social media. So let's begin. Angie, can you share
some of the key priorities of your response as of right now?
Sure, and first I want to say thank you for opening up this forum. Obviously, in this time of COVID, we had to be a little bit creative to be able to get the information out, so we appreciate you setting this up for us and hosting us this morning. So yes, our priorities for the response are really clear. We want to make sure that we're protecting our responders, the folks in the community, obviously the public, and then protecting the environment as well. So immediately when we learned about the release last Friday, we responded. We shut down the line immediately within just a few minutes of confirming the leak. And then from there, we set up an incident command structure, and we've had at some points upwards of 250 people out there responding 24/7 to get the release stopped and get the product cleaned up. So we've had a really phenomenal week working with our emergency responders. The Huntersville Fire Department has been phenomenal. I had a chance to meet several of them out on the site, and they've been really good to work with, really collaborative, and we really appreciate that support there. The police department has been great. Mecklenburg County EMA, and of course the DEQ who's with us today. So again, we just really appreciate all the collaboration that's gone on over the course of this last week. So we've been monitoring for environmental impacts since last Friday. We'll continue to do so. Again, just making sure that we're protecting not only the responders but the public in the area as well.
Well, thank you. So Tony, my good friend Tony, you are the local expert on emergency management, and you've worked closely with Colonial on this response. From your perspective, how is the response being handled?
Well, first off, when you say that I've worked closely with Colonial, that's not an understatement. They've been great partners to work with, very open, and answered all our questions as we went through the process. But for everybody's understanding of an emergency, it's really in three phases. It's that initial phase, and then the emergency action phase, and then the response phase, the mitigation phase after that. And so we're pretty much into phase 3 now. So let me just talk about phases 1 and 2. The initial response was exactly what you said. It was, as soon as it was detected and verified, product was stopped. And that's the best way to stop a spill was to turn it off. And that was done quickly. The emergency response with the incident command structure took place. That was the next phase of it. Workers were there, up to 250, is what you said. I didn't count. It was just a lot of people there. Air monitoring took place. Groundwater, soil monitoring took place. We're very blessed with a lot of response assets in this community, in this county. And we responded with those assets on Friday and into Saturday. But Colonial brought a plethora of air monitoring equipment and groundwater equipment, and that phase went really well. They have been spot on their monitoring, where they chose their spots and how that's worked. And that was overseen by our hazmat coordinator, Chief Tim Hartzell, and he was very pleased, along with our state partners. Everybody felt like that emergency response phase went really well. And now we've kind of moved into that, we have moved into that monitoring phase, or that mitigation phase, where the emergency response is over, if you will. It's never a hard and fast line. It's always that kind of gray area where there's that handoff over into that mitigation. But we're moving into that mitigation phase where state environmental comes in and helps us monitor there. And I fully believe, with all the resources that I've seen Colonial bring to the response phase, those are the same kind of response, those are the same kind of tools that I think Colonial will bring into the mitigation phase as well. So that's where we stand now.
Well, good. Well, that's reassuring. So Angie, what are the steps have been taken to ensure air quality and ground quality as of right now?
So just to build a little bit on what Mr. Bateman said, water testing was started essentially immediately as soon as we could get out to speak with the homeowners in that 2,000-foot radius outside of the release site. That 2,000-foot radius actually exceeds the DEQ requirements, which we can talk about a little bit more later. And then all of that data is shared with Mecklenburg Public Health, and so they're able to analyze that data alongside with us and make sure that there's no impact. And as of right now, they don't believe that there's been any threat to drinking water wells on the scene. So we also have looked at air monitoring, also as mentioned. So we brought in a crew immediately as soon as we could get them on the ground to make sure that the air in the area, not just of the immediate emergency response zone, but outside of that area as well with the public, is making sure that air is safe for the responders as well as the public. We've done soil removal already, bringing out truckloads of soil, again, just getting that out as soon as we can, as soon as it's safe to do so for the responders on site. As we continue our testing data, we'll share that with the DEQ and other environmental agencies. Again, that partnership is critical. We'll share that data with them and we'll analyze that together to make sure that we're coming up with the appropriate response plans. And again, that longer term mitigation plan is a partnership between Colonial and those agencies. By way of water protection, we haven't seen any signs of any sort of contaminants reaching any of the water supplies, and so we'll continue to monitor that. We've put in precautionary measures on creeks just in case we see anything there, but again, as of right now, we've seen no impacts there.
So, Mayor, can I piggyback on that? Just one comment I want to make about that. It's very important in the response phase for hazardous materials workers and technicians to limit, if not altogether stop, inundation of surface waters. That's a really big point that we press, not just at this time, but in other incidents as well. That's a big thing for hazmat techs, not to allow the product to inundate surface waters. And not to get too scientific here, but oil and water don't mix. So, that's a big thing for environmental workers. And Colonial went right to that and placed booms and there's other strategic things that are done on the hazmat side to collect or keep from spreading if product does get to the surface waters. And to my knowledge, there has been no inundation of surface waters. And that's a really big point to make. There has been no inundation of surface waters.
That's right.
So Angie, the data, will you share that with the homeowners in the area?
For the wells that we test for the impacted landowners, yes, we'll share that with those homeowners and landowners.
Okay, great. Well, Dan, North Carolina DEQ is the ultimate authority here, right? So we're glad you could come. How long will water and air testing and monitoring continue in this area?
As the state's environmental agency, our primary concern is public health and the environment. And specifically in this case, that would be the drinking water wells in the area and the surface water to the north of the release. And as Angie stated, the data we've seen so far, there has been no impact to those drinking water wells or to the stream to the north. Right now we have 3 phases as well. Right now we're in the initial phase where Colonial Pipeline has abated the release, as I understand it. In this phase, they're also taking care of any soils that were immediately impacted. We've requested initial abatement action report, and I can give you a copy of that letter this afternoon for that request. In this initial phase, they'll be taking soil and groundwater samples and sending that to our office. Upon review of that assessment, we'll then send out a comprehensive site assessment request, and during that phase, there'll be more groundwater and soil samples taken to define the extents of the groundwater and soil impact. Moving forward from there, phase 3, we will be going to a corrective action plan. We'll ask Carolina Pipeline and their consultants to provide us with a strategy for cleanup of groundwater and soil to R2L standards. As far as timelines are concerned, it's difficult to say right now how long this whole process will take. We'll better understand that when we receive the comprehensive site assessment moving forward.
Well, Angie, what steps are Colonial taking to communicate all this information to the community, especially the homeowners in the area?
Right. So one of our company's core values is respect. And so along those lines, we want to make sure that we're being as transparent as we can be with folks in the area here. And so immediately, as soon as we could get the team put together to build a website, they built a website and released it, where we've continued to provide updates with factual information as it comes in to the community, and we'll continue to do that going forward. We've obviously provided consistent, transparent information with the regulatory agencies that have been on site, as previously mentioned in the video. Landowner communication has been strong as well. Within the first few hours of the release, we communicated immediately with those owners directly in proximity to the release, and then in that 2,000-foot radius and in the subsequent days, again, one-on-one communication with them, providing direct contact so they could ask questions if they had questions, and then providing flyers as well. And as that update, or as that information gets updated, we're continuing to visit homes that are in that vicinity of the release site. Another update will go out today, as a matter of fact, via flyer. So again, we're just continuing to try to get the information out there. On the website that I mentioned, there's a link that people can click on if they have additional questions.